Ladies and gentle gamers, today we have the brand new Diana V2 update on the Hypixel SkyBlock Alpha. I had to wait an hour and a half in queue to get into this update, so please make sure to drop a like and subscribe, because once we get to red name at 30k subs, I won't have to wait in queue anymore, and I can get these videos out faster for you guys. Without further ado, let's jump into it. So a lot of the content behind this update is going to be locked behind the brand new Mythic Griffin pet, which the recipe for requires braided griffin feathers, enchanted ancient claws, enchanted gold blocks, a base griffin upgrade stone, and the new mythos fragments, which are treasure drop. So instead of going through and crafting this, we're just going to go over to Centauri and grab one, and it costs that plus 700,000 coins to upgrade, and it is going to take about a week to get this upgrade done. So we're just gonna casually skip through that. Couple of cat bouquets should do the trick. And now we can see in the mythological bestiary, there are 6 brand new mythological creatures, so twice as many as we currently have. And we're just gonna go through and try and find as many of them real quick as we can. You will notice that there is a brand new mob type, the elusive mob type for Inquisitors and a couple of the other mobs that we'll find in here. Inquisitors are more likely to spawn with the new Mythic Griffin pet. I believe normally it's a 1% chance, and with Mythic Griffin it's like 1.3% chance now, so it's slightly more likely. But you can see the mobs have way more health now. So this guy I'm fighting right now, he has 15 million health, so there's going to be a lot healthier guys that you'll be battling. And you can see the arrows do also look a little bit different here as well. But here is the first of one of the new mobs, the Cretan Bull. So that one wasn't too bad to battle there. He had 3 million health, did 2.7 thousand damage. So he did do a lot of damage. But he has a chance to drop the rare Cretan urn drop, which is this thing right here. It gives plus 5 pet luck as a pet item, and you will notice that if you have 3 of them and a Hephaestus anvil, you can now upgrade pretty much any of the drops you get to the Hephaestus version of them. So it gives double the pet luck of the base Cretan urn. But these Hephaestus anvils aren't cheap in themselves. They do require a stack of mythos fragments, a couple of braided griffin feathers, a couple stacks of enchanted ancient claws, and a stack of enchanted gold blocks. So it is a lot of stuff to make one of these. But if we go ahead and grab one, we can see all the items. So there is the upgraded Hephaestus souvenir from the Wash souvenir. Gives 10 sea creature chance. There's also the minus relic upgrade, the Hephaestus relic, which gives 50% stats increase to all pet stats. Then there's the antique remedies, which gives 80%, but the upgraded version gives 100% of a pet's strength. And the dwarf turtle shellmet has been changed. It now gives 10 true defense and makes the pet's owner immune to knockback. So it does have its old use, but it also gives true defense now. And the Hephaestus Shellmet, the upgraded version, gives 20 true defense. We have our old plushie with 35 bonus attack speed. The new one gives 50. So that's all of the base item upgrades. The remedies and the relic are definitely very intriguing for some late game builds, and Shellmet actually does have a use now, so that's nice. But there are also different tiers of these bosses, as you can see. They all have different versions, and it's based on what rarity of pet you have. And depending on that pet, it is different for the starting word in front of the name of the actual mob. So for uncommon pets, it is blessed. For rare pets, it's stalwart. For epic pets, it's venerable, legendary exalted, and mythic empyrean. So you can see this pet has 5 versions, which means that its first version will start when you have an uncommon pet. Whereas the Minus Hunter here has 6 versions. So its first version will start when you have the base rarity pet. Same thing goes for Siamese Lynx. These guys spawn at base rarity, but Minotaurs will only spawn once you have an epic pet. Same thing for Minus Champions. And Inquisitors will only spawn at legendary pet or mythic pet. So you can see the drop rate does increase based on the rarity of the pet. So Chimera is 1% right now from legendary, and then if you have a mythic, it becomes 1.25%. Now before I hunt any more of the new mobs, let's talk about some of the gear upgrades. There is a new set of equipment, which at its base reduces damage taken from mythological mobs. There's also an armor set that does the same thing. And then there is the upgraded version, the mythos equipment, which will increase the amount of griffin burrows in your chains of burrows, and you only need 2 pieces of this set for that tiered bonus to work. Now to make the base gear, it requires ancient claws, griffin feathers, and some enchanted gold, and the upgraded variations require enchanted gold blocks, some mythos fragments, and different versions of griffin feathers and enchanted ancient claws. But if we go ahead and pop on the bracelet and the cloak, that's going to give us 2 additional burrows, and you can see if we have all 4 pieces on, it doesn't increase that amount. It does increase the amount of damage reduction we get against these guys, but it doesn't actually help with getting more burrows in our chain. The armor sets, it's pretty much the same gist. where of course the lower variations are going to be cheaper than the upgraded versions. But if you were to use this whole armor set, it will give you plus 10 magic find on mythological mobs. Definitely not as good as even sorrow gear though, so it's probably not bad for starting out the mythological ritual, but it's definitely not the end game meta set. You can also now upgrade your spade. So you can see the base spade gives monsters, griffin feathers, and coins, and with the archaic spade you can start getting mythos fragments, and the maxed out spade you can get braided griffin feather. It is a very low drop chance. I believe it's a 0.03% chance, but that's still a good chunk of money if you do manage to catch even one of those. There are also a bunch of brand new shards that have been added, all of them from different mobs from the mythological event. The first one being that bull that we fought earlier. Once you get 96 of the shards, you can get 40 defense against mythological mobs. Then there's the King Minos shard, which is one of the brand new mythic mobs that can only spawn from the mythic griffin pet, which once you have 32 of his shards, you can get 10% more coins from griffin burrows. There's also a minotaur shard that gives up to 5 magic find against mythological mobs. And finally, a sphinx shard, which will spawn alongside inquisitors at the legendary variation. And this gives 5 tracking, which is a brand new skill. Basically, it's just E-Man level 9 as a stat, and it is in the miscellaneous stats right here. It increases your chances of finding elusive mobs while doing certain activity. So since we have 5 tracking, just because we're Enderman level 9, we are 5% more likely to find elusive mobs. You will notice that is a bit of a nerf since the old E-Man 9 perks were 15%. Tracking is a very limited stat. There's not a ton of ways to get it, and E-Man 9 was giving too much, the admins felt like, so as of the current build on alpha, it will only give 5. This is also going to be a pretty long alpha similar to Dungeon Breaker they have announced, so it'll probably be on alpha with multiple variations across the next month if it does take them that long to get the right build. But having the upgraded spade also gives you higher odds of finding more coins, but that right there was the harpy, so that's another bestiary right there. You can start spawning these guys in once you get up to rare griffin pet, and they can drop antique remedies, and you will notice their rare loot is antique remedies, nothing else. So each individual mob has their own specific drop now. For the bulls, it's the Cretan urn. For constructs, is the dwarf turtle shellmet. Harpies have remedies. Minos champions have the relic. Minos hunters have the hilt of revelations. Inks get chimera. Minotaurs get the daedalus stick. And lynxes get the plushie. And that hilt of revelations is used to make the sword of revelations, by the way. And this is the stranded nymph, which as you can see spawns water on the ground next to it. It's a little bit interesting. This one starts spawning at the uncommon griffin level and will drop the washed up souvenir. Now these other 3 mobs are all elusive. The Sphinx is able to spawn alongside the Inquisitor at legendary variation. The King Minos and Manticore can only spawn at mythic griffin, and they are a 0.26% spawn chance. So odds are I'm not going to see one of these even if I grinded for hours on alpha while trying to get one of them. This is the drop from the Sphinx, which spawns at legendary griffin. You can get up to 5 tracking from dropping these brain foods. At legendary griffin, they are a 0.25% drop chance from Sphinxes, and at mythic it's 0.5% chance. This is the fabled stinger, which is dropped from the manticore at mythic griffin rarity. It has a 0.2% drop chance, and as you can see will upgrade your venomous level to 7. This is another drop from the manticore, and it can be used to make the manticore claw, which does give a little bit of pet luck and some ferocity, but the ability on it isn't that crazy. It copies 10% of your active pet's combat stats, so that doesn't include magic find. It could maybe be helpful for getting some extra defense for fire trials and that sort of thing, but it's not too expensive of a craft outside of the manticore, which is a 0.1% drop chance from the manticore, which is a 0.26% spawn rate. So it is going to be a very rare item, and I definitely think the gloves could use a little bit of a boost perhaps. There's also the shimmering wool, another mythic drop from the mythic King Minos, who also has a 0.26% spawn rate, and the wool has a 0.1% chance to drop. But it is used to make the golden fleece, which grants extra magic find on mythological mobs, but more importantly, gives plus 15 tracking on griffin burrows. In the patch notes, it said that this was a belt, but thankfully it's a cloak, which means you'll be able to use this alongside the primordial belt. So this thing will be really nice. However, shimmering wool is so rare, it's probably going to be ridiculous how expensive it is. Now, we also need to talk about some changes that they've made to the Daedalus Blade, the Crown of Greed, the fragged Daedalus Blade, and the Crown of Avarice. There is a key word change here in the item ability. It grants plus 4 damage per taming level and copies the base combat stats of your active pet. That means it's no longer going to copy the base magic find or pet luck or whatever other stat you may be going for. It's only combat stat. Now, to compensate for this, they have given it 20 base magic find on the weapon, and Chimera will still copy the magic find of your pet. So that part hasn't changed. It's just going to be a little bit less magic find from the Dayblade. Somebody did mention to me in a lobby earlier that it would be nice if the Frag Dayblade had a little bit higher base magic find than the base Dayblade. I think that could definitely help things. They did also change the extra perk that it has, so it now does extra damage at fragged. It does plus 1.5% damage per mythological bestiary, whereas the base does plus 1% damage. And they have nerfed the amount of magic find you get based on bestiary tiers a little bit, just because there's so many more bestiaries now. So in total, once you have all the new bestiaries maxed, it should still be just as good, and actually it should be quite a bit better. 12 extra base magic find once you have every single bestiary done. Now we do have to talk a little bit about the Crown of Greed. The Crown of Greed now gives double coins from Griffin Burrows and extra magic find on mythological mobs. However, you will take extra damage from mythological mob. And of course, the Crown of Avarice has a similar ability. It gives 5 times the coins from Griffin Burrows, but those coins are consumed by the helmet, so it doesn't seem like you level the Crown of Avarice with Scavenger and coins from kills anymore. But the biggest pain is that it grants extra damage and magic find against mythological mobs specifically. Also, you'll be taking 1.5 times the damage from mythological mobs. So for those of us that already have a pretty nice Crown of Avarice with habanero tactics on it specifically to be good for slayers, this change kind of hurts a little bit, a lot. I don't think it's a bad idea in general, but hopefully if this does get implemented on the main server, that at least let us take our Hab tactics off of this helmet, because that's a lot of money and I don't want to throw it on a Warden helmet or something else with 0 refund for the one that I already spent on this helmet. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is these spades do also increase the maximum burrow chain length as well. So you'll notice the Ancestral Spade has a maximum chain length of 4, the Archaic has a maximum chain length of 6, and the Dayfix Spade has a maximum chain length of 8, which means since I have the Mythos equipment equipped with 2 pieces that increase it by an additional 2, I should be getting, yes, 1 out of 10 on Griffin Burrows. So all of my Griffin Burrow chains are now going to go all the way up to 10. They have changed how they work a little bit. You're not guaranteed a treasure burrow like this at the very end of the Griffin Burrows. Your last burrow in the chain could actually be a mob. It's just every single burrow that you open has a 25% chance to be treasure and a 75% chance to spawn a mob. And also, thanks to the Mythic Griffin Pets perk, you gain 1 tracking on Griffin burrows for each burrow excavated in your current chain. So the longer you go in a burrow chain, the more likely it is that you're going to spawn a rare mob. So someone just dug up a King Minos and I didn't even get to see it because he got 1-tapped by it. So I imagine he's pretty difficult to take on. And apparently he did have a hits phase going on as well. So there might need to be a little bit of balance changes to these guys if we're getting 1-tapped at level 400 plus. I don't think it's a skill issue at that point. It definitely could very well be just a balancing issue. But I don't know. Again, I haven't actually fought it yet, so we'll just have to see. And as you can see here, someone has spawned in a Sphinx, and it has 65 million HP. Holy cow. So this is one of the ones that's just as rare as an Inquisitor. But there we go. So you can see the legendary version from Legendary Pets is going to have 40 mil health, same as Inquisitors. And then from Mythic Pet, it has 65 million health. And it does double the drop rate of brain food there at the bottom, 0.5% here and 0.25% there. Apparently it does ask you a question before it spawns as well, so you may have to answer a question to actually make it spawn. So that's a pretty cool feature. Definitely reminds me of the actual Sphinx in the myths. They have also changed how the Crown of Greed works as well, not just the ability on it, but how it drops. It cannot be found in burrows anymore. It's actually dropped from the new King Minos boss at a 2% drop rate, so it is not common at all. But here we go, we got another Sphinx. And I would also like to mention that all of the mythological mobs are now 50% more resistant to magic damage. So it's still possible to use a Hyperion against them, but it's definitely better to go melee style on these guys. You will also notice this bestiary does max out at 500, so it is going to take a lot of kills to fully max it out. For Harpies, it's 3,000, and the Bulls, it's 3,000. They did nerf Minotaurs down to 1,000. It was 4,000 before, so that is a little bit nicer. But I'm not sure what Manticores and King Minos will be at. I imagine they'll be at like either 100 or 250. There have also been some perks added to the carnival shops, so you can get extra damage against mythological mobs, extra coins from griffin burrows, extra magic find against them, and some extra tracking, so you're more likely to spawn the elusive mobs. So if you don't have some extra carnival tickets lying around, now's a good time to start stocking up. But that is the gist of today's update on the alpha. Again, it is subject to change quite a bit, so I will be making shorts about a lot of the minor changes, so keep an eye on that in the future. And also when it comes out to the main server, I'm sure it'll be totally different, so I'll be making a video then. But let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. And while you're down there, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless.